Hey y'all, Dr. Rebecca here. Today I want to talk about how frickin' hard it is to say no. Particularly if you're a high-achieving woman, particularly if you are dealing with anxiety or perfectionism or people-pleasing, particularly when the patriarchy really wants us to say yes. We all know that's the answer, right? That's like the problem here. Anyway, in my blog post, I talk a lot about why saying no, or the difficulty saying no, is linked with anxiety for a lot of people. And why, for high-achieving women, if it's not a hell yes, it needs to be a hell no. But in today's video, I want to talk a little bit more about a specific type of no. And that type of no is not the type of no when you really don't want to do something, but you're just trying to be nice. The type of no I want to talk about is when you are asked to do something that you can do, that you feel like you should do, feel like you're pretty good at, and you might get praise for, and you still should say no anyway. I want to give you an example from my own life. As a clinical psychologist, I have two main modes of work: psychotherapy and psychological assessment. Therapy is now my main focus. I love doing therapy. That is my full-time gig. Assessment used to be a really big part of my practice. And what assessment means is basically if you think that you need more specific, measurable answers about your brain, about your mental health, about your cognitive functioning, you're going to see a psychologist and get an assessment to figure out if you have something like ADHD or a learning disability. That's the type of assessment that I did. And when I started my practice, it felt really fun. I felt really well trained for assessment. It was easy to market myself as an assessment psychologist. I would go to schools and I would talk to learning specialists and teachers, sometimes parents, and I quickly became one of the go-to people in my city for assessment. I was at the top of a bunch of lists at a bunch of really cool places. A lot of people felt like if your kid needs an assessment, go see Dr. Rebecca. And that felt really awesome. It felt so great to work so hard at something and feel like it was making a difference for people. However, I started to get really burnt out on it. And while I liked the referrals, I liked the praise, I liked feeling good at it, I stopped liking the heavy lift of psychological assessment. There's hours and hours and hours of testing, huge amounts of writing, and it felt really hard to actually build the connection that I like to build as a psychologist, the connection that I could build with therapy. I felt like I was doing a huge amount of work to just give somebody all the things that were wrong with them and then say, bye, hope you figure it out. And I didn't feel like I got to help them figure it out. I just got to tell them what was wrong. And I didn't like it anymore. And I remember a session with my own therapist, honestly kind of just bitching about being an assessment psychologist. And she said, Rebecca, why don't you just say no? And I thought, excuse me? You don't understand. Everybody says I'm really good at it. Everybody says I should keep doing it. Everybody says I'm the one who's the best. Like, it felt good. It felt good. It was hard to say no to the praise. It was hard to say no to like being the go-to girl. But she asked me, if your whole career just looked like doing this over and over again, would you be happy? And I was like, God, no. I don't want to do this anymore. She said, what would it look like to build a life without this? And it sounded amazing. And she said, the only thing you have to do is say no. You finish the ones you have, then you stop taking those cases. It was one of those sessions where it felt like my brain like cracked open. I was like, I didn't know this was an option. I didn't know I could just build what I wanted. I didn't know that I could just say no if it was something that I was good at, and it's something I could do, and it's something people were asking me for, and it's something people were praising me for. I didn't know I could say no. I didn't know I should say no. And so I did. I said no, and it has been awesome. I have not done assessment. I haven't done assessment for like 4 years. It feels so great to feel like I'm in charge, and my values are in charge, and my goals are in charge, and my future is dictating my current actions. Other people's expectations are not dictating my current actions, or my past decisions even are not dictating my current actions. Just what I want for my future. And saying no was the first step. And so here's what I want you to think about today. There are a lot of things where it will feel a little bit easier to say no. things that you're not good at, things that don't feel like a good fit, I can easily say no to running a marathon. We have already established this is not going to be in my future. Marathon running is not for me. It is easy to say no to that. It's much harder to say no to the things that you love about yourself. It's much harder to say no to the things that you feel people love about you. It's much harder to say no when people are asking you for help and you feel like you could give it. Here's one thing that I think is important though. You're probably not the only one who can give that help. And particularly to my fellow therapists and my fellow helping professionals out there, I once had a mentor who was like, if you think that saying no to this patient will devastate them, you really need an ego check. Because there are many other therapists and many other helpers out there who can help them and who want to, who are desperate for these assessment cases, who are desperate to be able to help because that is so in line with what they want to do. I know this is a little bit of a bastardization of this phrase, but kill your darlings. At least think about killing your darlings. Think about what it will feel like to say no to things that keep you feeling stuck, particularly if those things are things you can do or should do, or people praise you for them, but they're not for you. They don't feel good. They're not in line with your values or your future or your goals. So I hope that gives you a little bit of food for thought today. I'm going to link at the end of this video to another video I did related to making decisions or goals based on your future rather than your past. That'll be right there. And click over here to subscribe. As always, if you're in Louisiana or Virginia and you would like a therapist, not an assessment psychologist, if you would like a therapist and you want to book a session with me, head over to my website to book a free 15-minute consultation. And until then, I'll see you next time.